What's going on, everybody? My name is Sam DeSalu, social entrepreneur, philanthropist. I have a few social businesses that give back to the less fortunate in Africa. We have DeSalu Naturals, we have DeSalu Travels, we have DeSalu Investments, and we have the DeSalu Foundation. Everything in my name, basically.
Passive income. Oh,
um, all
that.
my businesses, are based on philanthropy and based on giving back. So my businesses are self-sufficient businesses that are non-reliant on donations, and we take percentages of our net profits and we use them to support communities in Africa, women and young girls in Africa, and any other initiative that can kind of further progress, those in need.
That's awesome. Let's talk about those streams of income. They say the average millionaire has seven, and I think you named probably like four or five right there. So
I'm close.
you're
Yeah.
on the way. So, give us a little background on, your different businesses.
Okay. So all my businesses, like I mentioned before, they all have a philanthropic background.
Mhm.
I started them to be able to give back to the less fortunate. One thing I've learned, in the philanthropy industry, I guess you could call it,
Mhm.
not a lot of people are very receptive to donating. So I've been, doing this since 2014, and I've come across a lot of hurdles where, I have, so many projects that I want to do on ground in Africa to support, but people don't want to always, give, and I get that. It's very understandable. So because of that, I decided to basically create businesses that not only offer, amazing products and an amazing service, but they also give back to the less fortunate, and that's why they call them social businesses. So they're businesses that help, the less fortunate. So for me, that was basically why I started these businesses. So we have the DeSalu Naturals, all natural skincare brand. I
I
think I'm glad you like it. I think it's pretty awesome, and the customers, the hundreds of customers that have purchased from us, I think it's awesome. So I thank God for that. We're able to purchase reusable sanitary pads with the with the percentage of net profits that we
Wow.
take. We're able to purchase reusable sanitary pads, and we're able to give them to less fortunate women and young girls throughout Africa.
That's amazing.
So far, we've given out the pads in Uganda, Rwanda, Ethiopia, and Tanzania so far.
Wow. That's amazing, Sam.
Oh, thank you.
Like that.
God bless.
I can attest to y'all that the DeSalu Naturals it works wonders. When I was pregnant, I didn't get a stretch mark. Okay, I put it on my belly every single day, faithfully.
Awesome.
So tell us a little bit about your travel business.
Okay. Wow. So the DeSalu Travels that also came about while I was doing charity work in Africa. So I spend a lot of time in Africa, mainly East, and while I'm there, I share, with my followers on social media the work I do,
Mhm.
and they've seen me travel from Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Rwanda, so many countries, and I've had so many people hit me up like, hey, I want to come and volunteer. How can I make this happen? So after a few volunteer trips and people coming, after a few volunteer trips and people coming and really enjoying the experience, I was like, wow, this is kind of like another source of income that I can make for myself and also give back to the less fortunate because again, a percentage of profits always go back to helping the less fortunate. So I started DeSalu Travels. So basically, what we do is we curate intimate travel experiences for people to come experience, Africa like on a totally different, level. A lot of travel companies, not throwing shade, they don't really immerse you into the culture, into the communities. But with DeSalu Travels, what we do is, we actually put you, what I'm saying, like in the field, we allow you to mix and mingle with the locals. You know, we don't put you on a coach bus where you look out a window. We actually immerse you into the markets, into the community, and when you leave, you feel as if like you just had an amazing experience. because for me, if you're going to spend so much money, you know, to come to a country, you should really experience it, you know, like a, what's the word? Like a local, you know, you should really get to be immersed into the culture, you know, yeah, do everything, eat the food, you know, travel on the modes of transportation that they have. And yeah, for example, now one of my homegirls, she came on one of my trips, and I believe I took the group to Uganda, Rwanda, and Tanzania in that order.
Mhm.
And you know, when she left, she sent me a text message, like a really heartfelt message, like, "Man, this was such an amazing experience." And you know, fast forward a year later, she tells me like, "Hey, like I've made the decision to move to Rwanda,"
Wow.
and that really blew my mind. Like, she's a girl from like Bronx, New York. You know what I'm saying? Like New York accent and everything. And
Mhm.
now, you know, next month she's gonna be living in Kigali, Rwanda, which is so amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So what do you think your most difficult part of being an entrepreneur has been thus far?
Man, I can go down a long list.
'Cause you know,
um,
people that are watching this interview are, new to the game. They're just
yeah.
starting out and want to know what it's like to be an entrepreneur.
Well, first of all, I'm just gonna let people know like being an entrepreneur is not easy at all. Um, I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years, and you know, it's been more downs than ups.
Hmm.
But those downs make the ups more gratifying,
Hmm.
because when those ups come, they hit different. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you're like, man, I made it. And every up you experience, you know what I'm saying, gives you the strength, and you know what I'm saying, just gives you the motivation to continue going to reach your next, you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying, like your next, you know, big breakthrough or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Um, I mean, you know, when you give up a 9 to 5, you know, you pick up a 24/7. I tell people all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with a 9 to 5, you go in, clock in at 9, you clock out at 5, and that's the end of your day. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're up, you know what I'm saying, at 4 a.m. And, you know, you might not go to sleep until 4 a.m. But that just comes with it, you know, because at the end of the day, like the effort you put in, you know, is going to determine whether you succeed or not.
Right.
You know, so if you're putting in your best 110% and you're consistent, your business will grow and thrive and succeed. But if you call yourself an entrepreneur and you only call yourself because, you know, it's cool to be an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
then you're most likely not going to succeed, because everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but not everybody wants to put in, you know, the work it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. There's a difference between being an entrepreneur and a successful one,
Yeah.
because you know, when I started off, I was an entrepreneur, but I was broke. You know what I'm saying? You know, 10 years later, you know, I'm actually, you know, hitting my stride, and by the grace of God, I'm going to hit my peak and continue to grow from there. So again, it's not easy, but as long as you stay, you know, prayerful and understand that, you know, nothing comes easy. And as long as you're consistent, that's the most important thing, is consistency.
Yes,
As
key.
long as you're consistent, then you're bound to succeed.
What motivated you to quit your 9 to 5?
Man, what motivated me to quit my 9 to 5? So when I moved to New York in '09,
Mhm.
I had to get a 9 to 5, because New York is one of those cities that will spit you out quick if you don't have your ducks in a row. You feel me? I had two 9 to 5s in New York City. I was working at Zara, and I was working at AMC theaters, popping popcorn and cleaning, you know, the movie theaters. Like, I legit had to put my pride to the side, but
Mhm.
I knew that New York is where I needed to be, you know, on this entrepreneurial journey. So I did what I had to do.
New York definitely motivated me too to like that's where I started my first business after I moved to New York. It was like I got to get this money, like, and I
No,
got
facts. It's just something about New York, man, that just makes you want to get it. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Like Chicago, where we're from, is definitely a city where, you know, you gotta, you know,
You got to
you
work
know,
hard in Chicago, but in New York you have
but
to grind.
grind. Yeah, you have to grind. You know, like, man, I remember like New York, I was broke. Like, there were times where I legit. Well, luckily I'm a good person, so like there were times where I legit had to go into the bodega next to my apartment. And because I was so cool with the bodega owner, I'd be like, yo, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got it today. Like, I need a sandwich and like a drink, you know what I'm saying? Like some juice or something. And,
Mhm.
you know, because he knew how hard I worked, you know what I'm saying? He was like, bro, I got you. Don't worry. When you got it, give it to me. And even when I had it to give it to him, he's like, don't even worry about it, you know, because he would see me, you know, leave for AMC theaters at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then he would see me coming back from like, you know, Zara at, you know, 10, 11 o'clock at night. So he knew that the grind was real, you know. I mean, he's an entrepreneur himself, so he gets it.
Yeah, he was
You
paying.
know, he's paying it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I say that to say like New York City, man, it kind of made me, you know, and I tell everybody this, like God doesn't make mistakes. He's very strategic. So whatever he puts in your heart to do, and when you're obedient to it, you know what I'm saying, everything works the way it's supposed to. Because like I don't know what it was, but it was something like pushing me towards New York City. And when I finally made the move was when I finally started my entrepreneurial journey. And everything I needed to learn as far as like humility, because I had to humble myself and work at places like AMC where I'm like 21, 22, and I'm popping popcorn, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm cleaning theaters and just doing things that I didn't think a 22-year-old should be doing. And like my coworkers were, you know, 16, 17 years old. So, you know, I was kind of embarrassed, but then I realized like, look, at the end of the day, ain't nobody gonna pay my bills but me, you know what I'm saying? So I could really care less. But New York City definitely, you know, instilled in me this hustle mentality and humbled me to know that, look, you know, no matter how old you are or whoever you think you are, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to humble yourself to be exalted, you know what I'm saying, at one point in your life, you know?
Are you adding pastor to your social entrepreneurship? Because you preach right now.
Man, but it's the truth, though. You got to humble yourself for God to really exalt you. And in New York City, I was really humbled because there were times where I was like, man, I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like, I had my mom, you know, to fall back on or to call like, hey, I need some money, you know, as a man, you know, so you kind of want to make it on your own. And that's kind of what I did. So, man, I thank God for New York City, you know?
Made you.
Yeah, it definitely made me for sure.
What's your favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
Man, so because I love what I do, it doesn't feel like work to me.
Okay.
That's what I love about being an entrepreneur. Because I was never really like the best at taking orders. And not that I wasn't like, you know, a good worker. You get what I'm saying? But I always knew that I was meant for more than what I'm doing, you know? And I had every job that, you know, a teenager or a young adult could want. Like I worked at Finish Line, Foot Locker, you
Sneakers.
know, you know what I'm saying? I had all the kicks. You know, like I worked at Menards. They paid really good money, you know. But I just didn't want to work for anybody. I knew eventually I would want to be my own boss. And you know, like as you get closer to God, you start to understand your purpose. And when you understand your purpose, you start to realize like, you know, you aren't meant for certain things and you're meant for more. And not knocking, you know what I'm saying, my humble beginnings, because they put me in a position to realize like, hey, I need to humble myself and a whole bunch of other things. But I realized like my purpose on earth is greater than what I'm doing now. So what I'm doing now is just a stepping stone. So now that I understand my purpose, it's like, okay, I'm enjoying what I'm doing because it's purpose driven, if that makes sense. Yeah. And because it's purpose driven, I'm excited to see like, man, okay, what's next? How can I be a blessing to somebody else? Or how can my business, you know what I'm saying, like bless whoever needs to be blessed? Because at the end of the day, I honestly feel like all my businesses are vessels of God because again, you know, I've been blessed to be able to make money, and that's not an easy thing to say.
No, it's not easy at all. Most entrepreneurs start off, like you said, are broke. And
exactly.
Very few. That's why they say most businesses fail within the first 5 years because very few people stick it out to see like just a little while longer. Just keep being consistent. That consistency is gonna pay off. So.
Exactly. And not to preach, but a pastor once told me. Well, he was telling a bunch of people. But this pastor was like, there's blessings on the other side of your consistency. And that goes for like a lot of things. Like for instance, now my word for the year is consistency. Because I told myself that I was going to be consistent in my faith. I was going to be consistent in working out. I was just going to be consistent all across the board. And when you remain consistent, you start to see results. And those results are like AKA blessings because, you know, I almost gave up on DeSalu Naturals, you know, but then I realized like the brand, I almost gave up. But I realized that the brand is bigger than me, you know what I'm saying? Because God will call you to things and you'll be like, you know what I'm saying? But not understanding that this
Mustard seed though.
exactly, he gives it to you in seed form because he wants you to basically water it and put in the work for it to grow. Because if he gives it to you as a tree, you're not going to appreciate the tree and all the hard work that took to growing it. You know what I'm saying? So,
The harvest, the harvest
you
is
said what?
the harvest is out.
Exactly. Facts. The harvest is definitely necessary for sure. Yeah, even the growing of the roots that builds the tree.
Yep. That's
Because those, yeah, the foundation, because the roots are, depending on who you are, the roots are, humility. The roots are, just all the characteristics you need to sustain what God is about to
birth.
put you in or bring into your life or birthing you. Exactly. So I say all that to say, I feel like I just got off topic, but you get to,
Oh, you did it. You did it. Definitely. You
yeah.
still on topic. That's a part of your favorite thing of being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. What would you
Yeah. No, it is.
say success thus far?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say it again.
What would you say has been your biggest success thus far?
Um, so again, depending on, one's perspective, success could mean a lot of things. It could mean wealth, it can mean, being healthy. But for me, success is being able to see, the women and young girls, or just everybody who I've helped since being a philanthropist, just seeing the smiles in their faces and seeing that the work that I've been blessed to be able to do has made, an impact on people's lives. To me, that's success.
That is definitely success. You can
Yeah.
never measure that as success because you're
Yeah.
a servant of the world. Like, even though
Right.
you're making money, like, God
Yeah.
called us to serve. And that's what an entrepreneur does. You either
Yeah.
a service, a product, or
Yeah.
serving someone. Like, that's
Exactly.
so to see people benefit from that, I would definitely call that success.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Is there anything that you've regretted becoming an entrepreneur?
Not at all. Not at all. Oh, actually, you know what? I take that back. So, when you become an entrepreneur, you kind of somewhat become selfish until you realize that you need to become selfless in order to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you become an entrepreneur, and I mean, you can't really fault nobody for doing this. Because I mean, when I realized that, like, it's something I need to, learn later on down the line, I forgave myself because, like, when I first became an entrepreneur, I was all about the grind. I was just focused on me, right? To the point where
When they start off, it's like, I gotta make money, I gotta make money.
exactly. So the focus was just me. Like, man, I gotta get it. I gotta eat. I gotta survive. But then I started, neglecting like my family and my friends, and luckily for me, I've been blessed, what I'm saying, not to have experienced one of those situations where it's like, oh, I was so focused on the grind that, I didn't focus on a family member or a friend and I lost them. Like, thank God for that. You know what I'm saying? But I thank God that I realized how selfish I was now, because now that I'm selfless, I'm able to really, like, love my family the way I'm supposed to love them. You know what I'm saying? Love my friends the way I'm supposed to love them. Like, I appreciate my family and my friends even more now that I realize how bad of a brother, son, boyfriend, or friend that I was, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know? Again, I feel like, the closer you get to God, the more he starts to expose you.
So
And
the things around you.
exactly. He starts to expose you because those things that he's exposing, you need to, like, realize, because you can't take those to the next level. So for me, like, when I got closer to God, he exposed my selfishness. He exposed so many things that I was like, wow, like, I didn't even know I was that person. You know what I'm saying? Because a pastor told me the process in unbecoming is harder than becoming who God wants you to be, right? Yeah. So I had to kind of like unbecome this selfish person, unbecome this prideful person, like just a whole bunch of other things. But I say that to say, like, I dislike the fact that in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, I was a selfish person. I was very, like, man, all about me. But then I realized, like, I can't be that person. Like, I need to love my family. I need to love my friends, you know what I'm saying? And, all the new people who come into my life, because at the end of the day, you know, if all else fails, God forbid, you know, I have my family, I have my friends, and those who care about me.
All back on. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk about the business aspect.
Mm.
Like how did you find your target market for each of your businesses?
Man, so when I started DeSalu Naturals, I prayed on it and I felt like God put in my heart the beauty industry. And
Mhm.
then as I went deeper, I was like, okay, all natural products, because back in 2016, you know, organic and natural products was like the it thing.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, you know, I love to use shea butter. You know, this is a product that if I sold it, I would swear by it because I use it and I've seen the results.
Mhm.
So I was like, you know what? I'm about to start an all natural skincare brand. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it's a like a $30 billion industry, and all I need is like 1 or 2 billion. You know what I'm saying, to be able to do the work I need to do. You feel me? So
Right.
that's how I got into that, and it's been 4 long years, and we're just now, you know, reaching the point where sales are being consistent. You know, because we went from like 1 or 2 orders a week to now we got, you know, loads of orders a week. You get what I'm saying? So I did the research on that, prayed on that. So I kind of found my target. I want to say the target market found me, because once I started promoting it and people wanted, you know, to go the healthier route when it comes to like what they take in internally and what they use in their body, it's
Yeah.
kind of like they were drawn to the product. And thank God it's a good product. So people, you know, they spread the word. So now it's like, oh man, you should check out, you know, you should check out the shea butter, check out this.
Mhm.
When it comes to traveling, you know, to Africa, Africa's been, you know, the people, they call it the dark continent because for so many reasons, but I feel like they call it the dark continent because not too many people really know about it. They
They don't
only
know the beauty of it.
exactly, they don't understand the beauty of it. But I don't fault. I'm sorry.
The media, they don't show that.
And see, the media has done such a good job in making Africa, the continent, look so bad on so many levels. Because
Mhm.
all they show you is the kids with big stomachs and flies in their faces. All
Mm.
they show you on TV and the movies is wars, movies about wars and genocide and things like that. But I've yet to see a movie or any like amazing coverage on like the beautiful islands in Africa or the beautiful people in general.
Exactly. Like I'm dying
So
to go to Seychelles because it's like I've seen pictures and I'm like, I have to go to this place. Like it is
exactly.
beautiful.
You know, the Seychelles, the Maldives, Zanzibar, Mombasa. It's
Yeah.
just like there's loads of beautiful beaches on the continent of Africa that people don't publicize. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the media doesn't publicize. So I kind of found my niche is like, you know, create a travel company that focuses solely on Africa and
Mhm.
showcasing, you know what I'm saying, the beauty of it, but not only showing people like, oh, the glamorous life, but also showing them how, you know, people,
The
you
local.
know, how the locals live as well too. You know, I really want you to go to this country and leave feeling fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? I want you to eat the food. I want you to, you know, mix and mingle with the locals. I want you to turn up with the locals. You
Mhm.
know, and I also show you, you know, the luxury of it as well too. So you go back, you know, realizing like, man, I'm blessed because like I was able to go to this country and see the beauty of it, but I was also able to go to the country and see, you know what I'm saying, the poverty. Because like I feel like when people, you know, from, you know, America or Europe or anywhere go to Africa, you know, and when they leave, they feel this sense of like, what's the word?
I wouldn't say they feel like sadness for the people there. It's like,
No,
but
it's not sad, but they feel they don't take things for granted anymore, if
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know, because like we're so blessed here where we are. You know what I'm saying? Like whether you live in poverty here in America or you're wealthy, like you still have a roof over your head, you still have hot showers. You know what I'm saying? Like you're still good, but poverty in Africa is totally different.
Mhm.
You know, because the average salary for somebody living in poverty in Africa is about $30 to $60 a month. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, you could be on the streets here in America and make that in a day. You get what I'm saying? So it's different.
Gave three people $5 at the light.
Exactly. You know, so DeSalu Travels, I basically found, you know, my niche, just curating intimate travels experiences to Africa and really submersing the travelers, you know, into the countries.
How do you
Um,
businesses?
Right now, man, it's just like social media is what I use. I haven't yet paid for like any lick of advertising or anything. But
Really?
God, yeah, I haven't. But God's been good to the point where, people follow me and they share my stories, they share my posts, which attract people to, my page, and they see what I do. So, honestly, I wouldn't say a majority of the people who've gone on trips have been like followers, but 90% of, people that have been on my trips have been like people who follow me and just want to be a part of what I'm doing on the continent.
Because it's amazing. You're doing amazing work. Like, kudos to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Um, what do you consider your essential tools for success? Like, what is something that you do, some things that you have to have? Like, what are your tools for success?
Man, what are my tools? First and foremost is like my relationship with God, man. That's the most important tool.
Important.
Yeah, because as I got closer to God and I started reading the Bible and understanding like, Jesus and who he was, and when he was crucified and when he came back and mingled with the disciples for a little bit, and then he told them like, hey, I'm leaving, but I'm leaving you with, the advocate, which is the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And basically every morning, like whenever I wake up, like I pray first because, I seek guidance on how to move, on what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever read the book of, I want to say it's the book of Samuel, and when King Solomon, before he really like, sat in the throne and became king, he prayed. Well, actually, he had a dream, and the Lord came to him in the dream and asked him what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And he just said, I want wisdom, knowledge and understanding to like, be able to take on this responsibility that I've been given.
Mm-hmm.
And because he asked for that, and didn't ask for like power, money, or like the life of his enemies,
God bless
God,
him more.
exactly, God blessed him with the wisdom that he asked for, but also blessed him with the riches and everything. That's why Solomon is like the greatest king in the world has ever known. So for me, like I wake up and again, I pray and I ask God for like, wisdom on how I should move. In all honesty, like I can't take any credit for anything I've achieved thus far because it's legit just me asking God for guidance, being obedient and just doing what I'm supposed to do. The second tool is just having like a good support system, just having a family that kind of like support me. Because, being an African, African parents, they want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or engineer.
Right.
Luckily for me, my mom, I guess she understood my purpose, what I'm saying? And realized like, hey, if he wants to do this, what I'm saying, he must be, being led to do it. And who am I to tell him not to? So let me just support him as much as I can. And I can't even tell you how much my mom has supported me, through these 10 years,
That's even African American parents are like that. My mom was like, "What do you mean you're not going back to school to get your master's? What do you mean you're not going to go quit your job? You start."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I want to be an entrepreneur. And she was like, Yvonne, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
It's not easy, whether you're African American, Chinese, to have parents, kind of like pressure you into doing certain things is tough, So, when you do have a parent who is understanding, because I mean, don't get me wrong, my mom was like, do this. But when she realized, like, look, man, ain't no getting this kid to do what I want him to do. Let me just let him do him. She
right.
now became supportive. You know what I'm saying? So I thank God for my support system. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like I credit everything to that. I can't take any credit for it at all.
I mean, he's everything.
Yeah, facts.
So being somebody that's been in the game for the last 10 years, do you have like a mentor or business coach or somebody that you look up to help guide you? I mean, outside of God, like a human factor to guide
Yeah.
the process.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, God puts people in your life for a reason, So um I look up to a lot of people. I can't really like pinpoint one.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance now, like they say social media is, good or bad depending on one's perspective. Because if you get on Instagram, you can compare yourself to other people, and now it's like, okay, you start to doubt yourself. And that happened to me at one point, but then I realized, again, like who I am. So now, like, there's a lot of people that I look at for inspiration. And I'm like, man, that's so dope. Because I tell people, I'm forever a student, so I'm always going to learn. I don't care if you're 15 years old or 55 years old. Like, if I can learn from you, I will. So, I mean, I look to a lot of people, for like advice. I mean, even my age mates, like, for instance, not even you. Like, if there was something you were doing and I was like, man, I want to learn that. Like, I was like, hey, keep on. Like, you got 10, 15 minutes to spare. Can you put me on game so I have a better understanding? So I seek inspiration and advice from whoever I need it from at that time. So, yeah.
I could definitely learn some stuff from you, Mr. Social Entrepreneur.
And vice versa, for sure.
What advice would you give someone starting out, or like what books or podcasts or, motivational speakers would you recommend for any entrepreneur?
Any entrepreneur. So starting off, I would definitely say plan for sure. Like before you take any step into jumping into entrepreneurship, you gotta have a plan.
I've been telling you, plans come first.
No, facts. Like you gotta have a plan, and you gotta have a real understanding of the industry you're about to, get into.
Research.
Exactly. Because if you don't plan, you know what I'm saying? What's the saying? If you don't plan to something, you plan to fail. I don't know how it goes.
If you fail to plan, you'll
exactly. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So planning is key. And then as far as like people to listen to, man, there's loads of people. For instance, now who's somebody I look up to? What's his name? Gary V. Yeah. He's really like, you know what I'm saying? So I listen to him sometimes.
Real, like cut the shit. Like
exactly. Who else do I listen to? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. The guy that founded FUBU, Damon.
Draymond. Yeah.
The guy that founded FUBU. And believe it or not, man, Pastor Michael Todd, like he has a few sermons that talk about just, you know what I'm saying, like finding your purpose and figuring out what God wants you to do, you know what I'm saying, for your life. So I would say listen to Michael Todd as well. Even Pastor Stephen Furtick. Who else? Eric Thomas, he's dope.
Yep, E.T. I was just talking to somebody else about him.
Yeah, he's super dope, man. And even like I say, depending on what industry you want to get into, find people in that industry that are successful and read any book that they've written. You know what I'm talking about? Like for instance, now when I started DeSalu Naturals, I kind of built my business model around Tom's. So the founder of Tom's is Blake Mykowski. And you would have thought I was a stalker the way I was like, reading about him and just trying to figure out how he came up with that dope idea and how he became so successful. Because right now, man, he's a multi-millionaire. And for me, it's not about the money, but to be able to, achieve that is amazing.
Right.
Because for me, if I'm ever to reach, by the grace of God, when I do reach that status, like it just allows me to be able to give back more on a grander level,
I was just about if he made that much, how much he's giving back. So
exactly. I can just imagine because I remember like a venture capital company or some company bought like maybe 30% of Tom's, like $300 million. Wow. So you could already imagine like with the little he was doing already, now that he has that, imagine like what they're doing now.
Yeah,
so that's really amazing.
Okay, well, I want to say thank you.
Thank you
for joining me and doing this interview. I'm pretty sure you dropped a lot of gems, and there's a lot of people that want to hear what you have to say and can learn from you. You've been in the game for 10 years, so
it's a long time. So now that I think about it,
yeah, it's a long time. You have the experience and the knowledge that entrepreneurs need to see and to hear. So
thank you.
Thanks for joining me.
No, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate you. Keep on.
Absolutely.
All right.